All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Hello, and yes, you are not seeing things. I am actually doing another video 2 days in a row. I figured I have a bunch of boxes that I can unbox. I probably have at least 100 boxes of comics that I've never opened. So I have videos. I just had to be motivated and everything. So I'm probably not yet going to be getting back to doing them every day, but even though as of now I can't buy any new comics, who knows, maybe that'll turn around soon. Maybe 2022 will be a different year and a better year. And like I said, at least I can make video content, and I want to get back into being some kind of normalcy, so I'm going to try and do minimum of once a week. Maybe more than that, but here's a book. I purchased this, I think it was either February or March of this year. It was on Greg Horn's website. It is a signed copy that they had to send to CGC, and they said there are no guarantees of a 9.8 or what the grade will be. So I do not know what grade this is going to be. Now, I think I have one of the best shots to get a 9.8 because I believe at the time this came on, because I remember it was going on sale at a certain date at 12 noon, and I was the first one to buy one. So if they are going by first come, first serve, I probably have the best chance of a 9.8, but I do not know. So I'm going to unbox this, and I'm going to do 3 more CGC unboxings. And just to show that, you know, like I've always said, I don't have any problems with CGC at all. I mean, they are the #1 company. I just always tell people that each company, CGC, CBCS, and PGX, and of course there's other minor ones that you can use as well, but each one has its benefits and its negatives. So make sure when you send in a book to get graded, no matter what company you use, make sure it's the right grading company for your particular needs at that particular time. And I've shown time and time again how just because CGC is #1 does not mean they are #1 for what you need at that moment. So keep that in mind, and I always try and get people to think for themselves. What is this? PH Comics says, I was able to get Tomb of Dracula 1 for, I believe that says £6. I'm from the United States, so I'm not sure what that is, but correct me if I'm wrong. Got it cleaned, impressed, and came back a CGC 6.5. Very nice job on that one. Always good to get pressings and dry cleanings on comics. I recommend that all the time, because let's just say that would have been a 5.5 or a 6.0 without the pressing. You know, that could bring it up a lot more than what you pay for it for the pressings. And that's one of the things I do like about the PGX, is they have in-house pressings and dry cleanings, but this is not a PGX video. So let me put on the video camera. I already see 8 people here, and 5 of the 8 hit the like button, so thank you for that. Let's say hello to a couple of people that are here. We got PH Comics, of course, who just made that comment. Michael P., Gary Hahn, No Grade to Low Grade. I like that name. Everyday Non-Expert. And Papa Ken is here. If you see this, join the live chat. Be a part of the conversation, because at the end of this video, I always pick a surprise subscriber shout-out. You do not have to be a subscriber, but I hope you will subscribe. And there are some benefits to that, so stick around until the end of this video. Like I said, I'm going to first do this unboxing. Then I got 3 more where I do know the grades. I bought these, like I said, months ago. I'll even read the dates that these were delivered. And I'll try and do videos more often. So let me put on the video camera. Hello, everybody. I changed up some of the comics around here. Hopefully they're books that you would have or would like to add to your collection. So here we go. This was from Greg Horn's website. I got this delivered June 21st of this year. Like I said, I think I bought it either January, February, or March, so it took a couple of months. They did not guarantee the grade, but like I said in the beginning, in case you missed it, I believe I was the first one to buy one of these. I think it was limited to 25 or 50 of these, I'm not sure. But they said they will not guarantee a 9.8. They will not guarantee the grade. But like I said, since I believe I was one of the first ones to buy this off of his website, because I was there literally at 12 noon, had it all ready to go, I think I have probably one of the best chances, but I don't know, and I'm going to try to not look at this. Okay, so I can't see the grade, but I can tell this is the back part of the book. Alright, so I'm going to cover this up. Okay. So this is from Bird City Comics, 616, and you could see it's got an original sketch by Greg Horn. This is Aliens #1, so it's signed, and I just like the fact that they put the Punisher label on there. So I do not know what the grade is, but as you can see, the yellow label, because this was witnessed, so there's his signature, and it's got an original, I guess they would call that a remark. Alright, so let's see what the grade is. Alright, so there we go. I did get a 9.8. Very happy about that. So it does say signed, and they did mark it as a sketch. 32 of 50. So there was only 50 of these made by Greg Horn. He signed it on April 1st, and I got it 2 months later. So very happy with that. Not sure how the Aliens comic is doing, but Marvel did take over Aliens franchise. So I'm sure it's just a matter of time before they do a Aliens movie. So if you think this has any value at all, let me know. Of course, I will tell you what the price was. With shipping and handling, I paid $180.34 for this. I'm sure it's worth a heck of a lot more than that at this point. But was very happy to get this book. I'm going to put it in one of these better bag and boards, because the only bad thing, well, one of the things I don't like about the CGC is they put really bad bags for these in. I mean, you know, look at this. They're all, look at the difference. So now I buy these regular, better bags, and it's a lot clearer, because I don't like how frosted that is, because it hides it, and it's all wrinkled. So, not the best bags, so I always replace them. So, very happy with that, especially for the price. But like I said, I have 3 more boxes that I'm going to unbox. These are all graded comics. Put that to the side. And don't forget, guys, make sure you check my description, because I do discounts. I have discount codes and things like that for different places, comic related mostly. And if you ever want to join my Patreon, you can. I think I have 1 Patreon member, maybe 2. So anybody that wants to help support is always appreciated, but of course not necessary. But hey, you never know. One of the things I've learned in life is if somebody wants to be kind and give a gift, you should never stop a person from having the opportunity to do something kind. And especially in this day and age, I think we can use a lot more kindness. So, and I'm going to try my best not to hit the wire of the camera at all, because this wire is so sensitive that if I sneeze, it will freeze up. So I am trying to pay attention to this. These are books I would definitely recommend adding to your collection. Because remember, I always tell people when it comes to investing, you want to get books or any investment not when they're at their peak and where everybody wants them and when they're most valuable and when they're most, you know, desired, because you're going to overspend. You want to get them when nobody is talking about them. But unfortunately, most people have what I call the herd mentality, and they just do what everybody else does, and instead of leading, they're following. And if you do that with investing, you're going to lose more times than you'll win. The problem is, you know, like a roll of a dice, every now and then your number will come up. But if you think you have a strategy over probability, you're going to be disappointed more than you're going to be happy. So this is a comic that nobody's talking about. There are no rumors as of now officially if they will even be in the MCU, but you never know, because they did have at least one character that could be leading in that direction. If anything, it'd probably be years before this came out, but with all the TV shows and stuff they do, you never know. Like I said, I'd rather be early than late. And at least these people use the blue packing tape, the painter's tape, so thank goodness for that. Makes it a heck of a lot easier. And of course, I will tell you what it is, what the significance is, and I will give the price that I paid for it. But yeah, this is a book I would highly recommend to get. Alright, so let's take it out of the CGC bag, and I will put a much better one. I mean, I'll just show you the difference. This is the CGC bag. See how foggy it is? And here's the ones that I use. You know, if it wasn't moving around, you might not even know it's there. So, I mean, that's the difference. So, I mean, you know, to each their own. Okay, so let's put this in. Alright. So you probably know what it is if you saw the back. So this is Excalibur Special Edition. It's in a CGC 9.8. As you can see, yellow label. Was signed by Chris Claremont. I don't know why they do not put here that this is the first appearance of Excalibur. Because this is the first appearance of Excalibur. So, bad job with CGC on that part. But this is the first appearance ever of Excalibur. Now, you know the X-Men are going to be coming soon. There are rumors of Alpha Flight and some other variant, you know, different teams of the X-Men. So, they already have, I guess, Captain Britain, the female, from the What If series. I don't know if she was called Captain Britain or not. But will they ever go into an Excalibur route? I mean, there's a couple of X-Men, as you can see. You have Nightcrawler, you have Kitty Pryde. So, you never know. Phoenix, you never know if they go the Excalibur route. And they might. But again, you don't want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on this book. Let's say they announce tomorrow that they're doing an Excalibur TV show or an Excalibur movie. That's not the day you want to buy it, because now you're going to pay double what it was the day before. And if it doesn't work out, hey, you know, you tried and you didn't have to overspend. So I paid $330 for this book. A signed 9.8 of this book is not that easy to come by. There are ones that are no price variants. If you can find those, get them. I showed a video probably the beginning of this year where I got a graded version of that without the price. So if you can find one that does not have the price, that's a rarer variant, especially in a 9.8. So these books are not easy to get in a 9.8 because, as you could see, the back is almost completely black. And if you open this, because it's a thicker book, it's going to make creases and everything. So sometimes it's not about the book itself. Sometimes it's the rarity of the book that can make it more valuable. So to get a signed edition of this book, I mean, $330, we'll see what happens. If they do make an Excalibur TV show or movie, and that Excalibur TV show or movie is good, this would probably be about maybe a $1,500 to $2,000 book. But that's the thing about speculation. You have to take the chance, and you have to get in early. It may succeed, it may not. There's only one way to find out. So if you're not sure about that, get an ungraded copy. You could probably find an unsigned version or even a signed version of this book right now for probably $15 to $25, maybe $50 for a signed book. But you can easily get these fairly cheap. As a matter of fact, I have probably 20 to 25 more of these, not graded, but ungraded, that I bought that are still waiting to be unboxed. Some signed, some not signed, because I just have a feeling it's worth taking the chance on. And plus, it's one of the first comics I bought when I was a kid as a regular series, because when I went off to college, it was Thor, Punisher, and Excalibur. I mailed it into Marvel, and every month they'd send me comics. Which the only disappointing thing is, when I went to Stonianta, and if you're from New York, you know what I'm talking about. You know, you only had a cubicle for your mail, so it would always be bent in and they always got ruined, but luckily there weren't any major key issues in the time I was getting them. So Excalibur for me, you know, I always loved the Alan Davis artwork, and just has a special place for me. May not be for you, but hey, as they say, to each their own. One of the good things about buying something that somebody else doesn't want is it makes it easier for me to get or somebody else to get. So never worry about what everybody else is doing. Follow your own lead. Like I say, be a leader, not a follower. Alright, next up. Alright, so they put some extra padding. I like that, especially when it comes to graded books. You definitely want them as secure as possible. So I'll just throw this stuff to the side at the moment. So they put several of these, so that's good. They put them in there. Hopefully they didn't tape this. Good, okay. Alright, so we're going to take this out, put this in. This is another spec book. Again, I thought this was a first appearance. I am not sure, but it's not listed on the label. So let me know. This is Invincible Iron Man issue number 1, CGC 9.8. I thought this was the first appearance of Ironheart. I could be mistaken. I bought this a while ago. When did this was mailed out? April 21st of 2021. And what was the other one? Because I forgot to mention it. May 17th. So I'm not sure, but this is in 9.8. I paid $159.99 for this book. So it's just the regular cover. So I know that she is going to eventually end up in the MCU. So I guess speculating, I didn't buy this when it came out because I just didn't like the character. So one of the good things about buying books that you don't like is it's much easier to sell them, because it's the books you love that are always hardest to trade away or sell. So I have zero interest in this character. So when she ends up in the MCU, if this book goes up, I'm absolutely going to sell it. I'm going to have no problem getting rid of it. And that's another thing about if you have comics you love, if you get multiple copies, well, you can sell or trade a couple of them and still have them. So that's why I always tell people to get multiple copies if you can. So I paid, like I said, I paid $159.99. This is Invincible Iron Man number 1. It does say Riri Williams is Ironheart. So let me know in the comments section if this is the first appearance. I thought it was, but as you can see, there is no mention of it on the label. And it has white pages, which, by the way, the Excalibur has white pages, and the Alien 1 has white pages. So that tends to be more desirable. I mean, honestly, if they're the same price, that's fine, but I don't really care between, you know, the off-white to white and white pages, but there are some people that have to have it. I don't understand that mindset. Just be grateful with what you have. At least that's the way I think. But, of course, if I had the choice, of course I'd rather have the one with the white pages and not off-white. But I'm not going to sit there and cry if I got a book rated and it was a 9.8 with off-white to white pages. Some people get mad like their day is ruined. And I say, you know, if the worst thing in my life is I got a CGC book that had off-white to white pages, my life isn't going that bad. Alright, so this is the last one. And by the way, like I said, I want to thank everybody who's watching. 15 people are watching, 12 likes. Almost everybody was kind enough to hit the like button. I'm going to take this dirty CGC label and replace it before I show this one. And I'm gonna try and make more videos. I cannot promise I'm gonna do it every day, but I will definitely try and make a better effort. Alright, so this is another book I've been telling people to get. This is the variant. Okay, so this does have white pages. This is an older label, but I don't care. This is Injustice, Gods Among Us. This is the game variant. Absolutely think that they're going to use this at some point. I mean, if you watch the Snyder cut of Justice League and the end credit scene, it basically was going right into Injustice. Now, whether they do it or not, especially when it comes to Warner Brothers and DC, one never knows. But again, I tell people, if you're going to invest in something, you want to get it when it's cheaper, not when it's most expensive, because there's just no room for profit, or you're going to make a little bit of profit if you're lucky. So I paid $150 for this book. So I think for a CGC 9.8 with white pages, for a spec book, that's not bad. So we'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, if the next Justice League is Injustice Gods Among Us, and I hope they do it because the story is amazing, and I hope they do it right. But if they do, I mean, you're talking, this will be a $1,000 book, in my opinion. So paying $150, can't complain then, but we'll see what happens. So those are the books. We got the Injustice Gods Among Us with white pages, 9.8. Invincible Iron Man, number 1, 9.8. I thought this was the first appearance of Riri Williams or Ironheart. It could be, I don't know, but like I said, it's not listed. So somebody can mention it if they want to be so kind. The Excalibur Special Edition, 9.8, signed by Chris Claremont. I cannot stress enough, this is a spec book to get, in my opinion. Of course, with speculation, there is no guarantees, so keep that in mind. And then last but not least, what this video is all about, this book came back on 9.8, which is Alien number 1, signed and sketched by Greg Horn. So those are the books, and that is my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let's pick today's surprise subscriber shout-out. I always do 2 of them. So we're going to go with PH Comics is number 1. And we're going to go with I Like Donuts 57. You are both today's surprise subscriber shout-outs. So in case you don't know, the benefit of being the surprise subscriber shout-out is you can post a link to either one of your videos or to your YouTube channel if you make YouTube videos. If you do not and you'd rather post a link to one of your social networks, you can do that. And if you don't do that, if you sell anything on Etsy, eBay, Amazon, any of those places, and you want to share a link to that instead, you can do that as well. Just keep in mind that I do have to verify the links first, so they will not show up until I verify them, because I want to make sure nobody clicks on a link that brings them somewhere inappropriate. So, so if you see a link, that means it has been approved. And the almighty Liger King, I like that, says, it's her first solo series, first appearance was Iron Man 7. Okay, so there you go. So that's her first solo series, which still will be something desirable if she, I'm going to be perfectly honest. With these kind of characters, I just don't have high hopes that Marvel and Disney will make them likable and make them into characters that can develop a character. I really hope they don't go the route of, oh, because it's a female superhero and a diverse superhero, that they're automatically going to be powerful in the beginning and can do no wrong and has the personality of, oh, I'm a bad you-know-what and no one can be more powerful. I don't like that. One of the things about characters is I like them to be developed. I like them to have weaknesses. That's why one of my favorite characters of all time in the movies is Luke Skywalker, and as far as superheroes is Spider-Man, because they were both flawed. Spider-Man, one of the things I see some of the critics say about the new Spider-Man movie, which is really a great movie, by the way, is they said, oh, he should have done this, he should have done that. You got to remember he's a teenager. How many right decisions did you make as a teenager? And the same thing with Luke Skywalker. In Star Wars, he was whiny. He complained a lot. He had no confidence. He had the glasses half empty kind of attitude. He didn't think he can do anything. But over time, he developed the character, so you follow along with the journey, and it's more relatable. Characters like what they're doing these days, I mean, yeah, they want to do the checkbox of certain things. if you're going to do it right. Make them likable. Make them not have their powers right away. Make them not be confident right away. Make them earn their powers. Make them earn the likability. So I honestly, that's why I don't do a lot of recommendations with these newer characters. Even if that was the first appearance, that's why I didn't buy it, because I didn't believe in her first appearance. I just didn't like the character. I don't like how they take iconic characters and just replace them with somebody else and say, okay, this is the new Iron Man, or this is, you know, like, for example, one of the reasons why I like Spider-Gwen and I like Miles Morales, and you guys know if you've been watching my channel, I've been recommending them both for years, is they didn't just replace Peter Parker and say, this is Spider-Man. What did they do? They said, here's an alternate universe of these characters where in their particular universe, they were the ones that became Spider-Man. I like that. That was original thinking. That was trying to make a new character. Yes, it's based off an old one, but at least they didn't say, okay, Peter Parker is no longer Spider-Man. It is now this one, and if you don't like it, you're racist, you're sexist, you're homophobic, you're this, that, and the other thing. Hollywood seems to be very much into that, where if you don't like what they're doing, that they make it out like you're an evil person. That, to me, is ridiculous. You're allowed to have your opinion. That's like saying, I don't like broccoli, and somebody calls you nasty names and accuses you of being whatever because you just had the opinion of not liking broccoli. It's okay to not like something. The idea is, just because, for example, if I don't like broccoli, I have no right to tell you to not like it, or prevent you from having it if you love it, or making you feel bad because you don't think the same way I do. Unfortunately, Hollywood and the media and all this stuff is going in that direction. They've been going that way for years, and I think it's just ridiculous. So like I said, again, one of the things about buying books that you may not like the characters on, I have no problem when it comes time to selling that book. I will have no feelings lost. Like if I was to sell my Hulk 181s or my Fantastic Four #1 or my Amazing Spider-Man books. That's why I like to try and get multiple copies, so it makes it a little bit easier. But that's why I don't recommend a lot of these books, because I just don't believe in them. And I know, as far as the track record, Hollywood is going agenda-driven. I mean, look at the difference between the Spider-Man movie, which grossed about $1 billion, because they gave people, for the most part, what they wanted. And look at The Matrix, which I don't even want to see, because I knew the route they were going to go with that. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but I can't really spoil it because I didn't see it, but I've heard things about it. There's a reason why it's not doing that well. It's because agendas do not work in movies. People don't go to movies or TV shows and say, I want somebody else to preach to me how I should think, feel, or act. They want to go to the movies to escape, to be entertained, especially in the world of how crazy it's been the past couple of years. People need an escape. And if your escape is somebody making you feel bad because you're not thinking or believing or liking the very things that they're trying to tell you, and then insult you for not doing it and having the right to your opinion, well, that's just a horrible way to live through life. You know, whether you believe in a needle in the arm or not, you have the right to think either for a needle in your arm or against the needle in your arm. Nobody else should make you feel horrible for your right to have a life of your own and a choice of your own. Otherwise, there is no freedom. So I really am not looking forward to a lot of these newer characters. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they do it like they've done. Like, I love that Sony Spider-Verse movie. I cannot wait for the next one. So people can't say I'm a sexist or a racist or anything like that, because I don't see race. I mean, I don't like somebody if they're mean, or they're just not nice people, or they try and force their agendas on me. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what religion you pray to. I don't care what politics you have. I don't care about your sexual preferences. It does not mean I have to agree with them, but you have the right to have them as long as they don't infringe on mine. So we're going in a different direction with this stuff. Some people like it, some people don't. All I'm going to say is think for yourself. And when it comes to investments in some of this stuff, it is a gamble. Because like I said, I really just do not have the confidence that they're going to give these characters the likability that they're going to need. And if you insult your people who are buying your product, that's why I've never seen Ghostbusters 2016. I will not see Matrix Resolutions or whatever it is, Revelations, because if you're going to make me as the consumer feel bad for what agenda you're trying to drive, why would I want to give you my money? It makes no sense. It's one of the reasons why I don't like to buy new comic books. Because, you know, it's not like I'm homeless and cannot afford a brand new book for $3.99. I don't like the way they're going. And for me to support it financially is just not wise for my own morality, my own integrity. And the more I've been thinking about things and the way life has been going, the more I'm sticking to those guns. So, even if I could get the first appearance of Ironheart now, I really have no desire to buy it. I mean, I bought that when, I don't even remember when I bought it, probably last year. But I just really think if somebody is going to make a customer feel bad, why would you want to continue to be their customer? So, that's my little rant on that. You can agree with it, you can not agree with it, you can like it or you don't like it, that's fine. All I ever ask is you respect the fact that I have the right to make that opinion of my own. You don't have to agree with it, and I'm never here telling you this is how you have to think. That's why I even say with the grading of books, I say, don't base everything based on what everybody else tells you. Base it on what's right for you. There are so many people, for some reason, when it comes to products, that all you're doing is, like I see all the time, CGC versus CBCS. I see videos like that all the time. You know what you're doing? You're giving both companies free advertisements so they can actually make money off of people fighting over which one's better. Coke or Pepsi, Duracell or Energizer, McDonald's or Burger King, Yankees or Mets, you know, San Francisco Giants or Los Angeles Dodgers. The idea is they manipulate you so they can profit off of you. And they take advantage of your passions for whatever it is, whether it's sports or music or comics or collecting. They know how to manipulate people. Don't let that happen. That's why I will not give my money to movies or TV shows or whatever, or politicians that are going to make me feel bad for my right to be me. So be you. So thank you very much for listening. The bronze page says, Chris, can you do more videos? Well, I'm doing one right now, so I will definitely try my best. I mean, I did one yesterday and I did one today. It's been probably 5 months since I've done 2 videos back to back, maybe. So I'll try my best, but I can't guarantee it. But we'll see. Like I said, I have so many boxes of comics that are just waiting to be unboxed. I mean, I'll just show you, like I said, I'll show you some. And I was sorting some out the other day. That's just some of them. So I'll try and make some more videos. But like I said, that's one of the reasons why I don't do many investment videos. Because most of them, like I said, I did years ago because I was ahead of most people. It's funny, I see videos time and time now of people saying, comics you gotta buy now. That are videos I made back in 2016, 2017. That's when you should have bought them. But a lot of them, like I said, the Hulk 181s of the world and the Fantastic Four 48s and 49s of the world, they have the X-Men of the world. They haven't come out yet. The New Mutants 98, they haven't come out in the movies yet. So they still have time to grow. But I just don't trust a lot of these newer characters. We'll see what happens. But like I said, I love Miles Morales. If you've watched my channel, you know I've been recommending that character for the longest time. Same thing with Spider-Gwen. Because they didn't just say, okay, Peter Parker's no longer Spider-Man, now you have to like these, and if you don't, you're a Satan worshiper, you're evil, you're the devil, you're a Nazi, or you're this, or you're that. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. How do businesses expect to stay in business if their business concept is to insult the very people they want money from. I don't understand it, but I guess when you have that much money, you care more about an agenda than actually caring about the customers who brought you to where you are. People these days in Hollywood, in government, in media, they don't understand that it was the people who brought them up. We can bring them down. And I'm not talking violence. I'm not talking protests. Protests do nothing but waste your time from doing anything productive. You know how you beat any system that's corrupt or unjust or unfair? You don't give them your money. It's that simple. I've been telling people that for years and was called crazy for saying it. I will never put my money into something that is going to make me feel bad for not liking what they're doing when it's clearly an agenda. Now, that doesn't mean people can't experiment and try something different. I mean, if you legitimately think making a different movie that has to do with ninja throwing lesbian Martians that are Siamese twins, if you think that is a movie that you think people might like and you put your passion into it and you say, I'm trying something new, I don't know if people will like it or not, but here it is, let me know what you think, I'll give that a try. But if you're going to do something and say, well, you have to like it, otherwise you're transphobic or you're whatever, I'm not going to do it. That's the wrong way to do business. Just imagine, I mean, because I own my own businesses, and I own many at the, with the massage therapy. I had the flea market for a while. Anybody that saw me at the flea market, you ever hear me insult you? There were many people that would come to my booth and just talk to me for 2 or 3 hours. Literally, I'm not kidding. And wouldn't buy a thing. And I didn't insult them. I didn't make them feel bad. I made them feel welcome. As a matter of fact, I know a couple of people that did that every week. They would come to my booth and just talk about, oh, I got this book, and I know this character, and I did this, and I went to this other flea market, and I bought this, this, and this, and never buy a thing from me. But that's okay. I made them feel welcome regardless. I made zero money off them, and as a matter of fact, I had to sit there for hours and listen to them nonstop. You think I want to do that with my free time? Spend 2 or 3 hours listening to somebody bragging about all the money they're spending on things that are elsewhere but my business? And now I have to focus my time on you instead of another customer? And I've lost customers because of that. It's just, when you do business, you do it right. So that's why I don't have a lot of high hopes with some of the newer characters. We'll see. But when it comes to investments, it makes it a lot easier to sell them. So you do you. You can agree, you can disagree, and that's all right. The one thing I love about you guys is you don't make me feel horrible for my right to have a choice, just like I will never make you feel horrible unless you're somebody that comes at me like finger pointing saying, you need to think this way, you need to do this, you're doing this wrong, this is not how everybody does it. Okay, that's what being an individual is all about. You know, when I was a kid, I used to make fun of this all the time. Like, I date girls and things like that, and they say, oh, you know, you're 1 in a million. Like, as a compliment, of course. And I would actually kid around saying, like, well, I kind of take that as an insult. Because if I'm 1 in a million, that means there are hundreds, if not thousands of people just like me. I'm one of a kind. That's how I like to think of myself. Where I'm different than everybody else. That doesn't make me better. It doesn't make me worse. It just makes me me. You notice, if you've been following my channel for a long time, you know that I do things my way. I don't follow the mainstream. I don't do what everybody else does just because it's popular or it's in or everybody else is doing it. Because then I'm not a leader. I'm not an individual. I'm just another sheep in the herd following the herd no matter where it goes. And if you know mostly about what happens with led sheep, they tend to be led to slaughter. If you want to be one of those people, you have that right. Every experience in life is an experience. Whether that's a good experience or a bad experience, you will learn. And I'm going to do a quick spoiler. So if you have not seen the South Park, the rhymes with Rovid, because these days if you even say the word, you'll get demonetized. If you have not seen the 2-part episode made-for-TV movie of the South Park episodes about what rhymes with Rovid, I'm about to spoil something at the end, so if you haven't seen it, don't listen to this. But I want to show this, because this is significant to me. Basically, in that show, they talk about how this Rovid was around for 40 years. Started when they were 9 years old. They all got into fights, went their separate ways. Okay? Stan becomes an alcoholic. Kyle becomes bitter, angry, and alone. Kenny becomes a scientist who is obsessed with trying to find a cure. And Cartman ends up getting married, becomes a rabbi, and has 3 kids that he absolutely adores. Now, I was waiting, because they always abuse Cartman in South Park, and rightfully so sometimes. But I was waiting for the joke to come out. Like, he literally, because Kyle kept saying, you know, you're not really a rabbi, you're doing this just to get me. But it ends up, he was sincerely happy with his life. He got married to the woman of his dreams. He had 3 kids he adored. And because of the life path he had, he became a better person in the future. So in other words, he was a brat kid. He was evil. He did a lot of wrong things. But I guess at some point he decided, okay, because of my wrong path, I'm going to take a better path as I grow up and mature, and I learn from my mistakes, and he ended up being happy. Well, here's the spoiler part. In part 2, they find out that they can go back in time and stop the whole breakup of the 4 of them. So I'm not going to tell you what happens in that aspect. Watch it if you haven't watched it. But they end up going back in time. They stop the 4 of them from separating and going their own separate ways. Stan life becomes better. Kyle's life becomes much better. He has kids. Where in the first part, he grew up alone, bitter and alone. Kenny is now still alive. But Cartman ends up homeless. And that bothered me. Because he actually wanted to stop them from going back in time, because his fear was if they went back in time and changed it so the 4 of them didn't separate and they didn't fight because of one specific event that did not happen, they end up fighting each other, going their separate ways, and their lives went on a different course. Well, Cartman at first wanted to try and stop them from going back to time because he didn't want to lose his wife. He didn't want to lose his children. And in the end, he realizes, well, we'll leave it up to faith. And if we're meant to be together, we'll be together. They go back in time. They fix it. They become friends as kids instead of separating and fighting. And that led him on another path to where maybe he didn't forgive himself for his wrongdoings. Maybe because he had fun there, he didn't stop and think about, well, maybe I'm doing things wrong and I need to better my life. And he ended up going on another path where he didn't have his wife and he didn't have his children. Growing up never knowing what he gave up and sacrificed. So the biggest thing I want to teach you, and this is not about comics, so you can shut it off if you don't want to listen to this stuff, which I'm sure many people have already. When bad things in your life happen, don't look at them as, woe is me. Don't look at them as, this is the worst thing that could ever happen. Trust me, this year, I started feeling that way. Because if you've watched my videos, I've been one of the more positive people throughout the years about everything. But even this got to me. And I think I needed to see that show because it shows that when bad things happen in your life, don't focus on where you are or where you've been. Focus on where it takes you. Because a bad situation could make you do a left turn instead of a right turn, and that left turn leads you to everything you've ever wanted in your life. And if that happens, then was it really bad in the beginning? And look at what happened with Cartman. is instead of them fighting at that particular moment in time where they went their separate ways, and he maybe at some point said, I need to better my life, and turned to religion and became a rabbi and ended up finding a Jewish woman that he fell in love with and had kids, that horrible life he led in the beginning led him in that direction. But because that didn't happen, he ended up going a whole nother path. So think about it. If you have a family, if you have kids, if you have a wife or a husband, would you go back in time and risk something that already happened to you that was painful and horrible and bad, and risk losing your family so that moment that's already gone can be something better? And that's what's going on in this world right now with all the crazy things that are going on with this world, is they're trying to make you feel like, no, that's okay. We're going to do everything better for you. Everything's going to be fine. Let us lead you on this particular path. You'll be safe. You'll be content. We'll take care of you. That may feel good to you at the moment. That may make you not feel as scared, which is ridiculous. You should live with love, not fear. But you never know what direction that will lead you. Sometimes you have to go through adversity. Sometimes you have to lose a race to put in the effort it takes to win the next one. And the one you lost may not be as important as the one you eventually win. Or even if you don't win, it may make you work harder in your life so you end up having a better, happier, healthier life, and you meet a better, happier, healthier person in your life. The world is trying to teach you to be afraid, to have everything laid and handed out to you, so you don't have to make any efforts. You will never grow. You will never learn. The strongest trees in the forest are the ones that fought the other trees to reach the top the fastest and the longest. It's the ones that stay down low that never grow and will never see the sun. This world is trying to teach you to be comfortable with whatever they give you. Safety and security does not guarantee happiness. Whether you believe in getting jabbed or not. I never had one. Never will. If you've seen on this very channel back in 2019 when I first moved here, I was dying on my bathroom floor. I think I was one of the first people that had what rhymes with Rovid. The video's there of me in the hospital the night that I had an ambulance carry me off for the first time in my life. I've had breathing problems all my life. I'm 51 years old. I haven't worn a muzzle at all. I think maybe in the 2 years now, I think I've worn one a total of 3 minutes total. I work around people all the time, and yet I don't get sick. I don't want to live in fear. That's not living. Having somebody put you in a square box and say, okay, we're going to put you in this fish tank. We're going to feed you every day. We're going to make sure everything cannot get you. Just imagine spending your rest of your life like a fish in a fishbowl. Yeah, you're not going to be eaten by a shark. Yeah, you're going to get your food every day, but you're going to be fed when they want to feed you, what they want to feed you. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything you want to do when you want to do it. That may be safety, but is that happiness? Don't live that way. And one of the things I like about my channel, is I like to give you thoughts. I do not tell you how to think. Notice nothing I said you got to do this or you got to think this way. I merely give a suggestion from my personal point of view, so you can say, okay, let's weigh the options and see what works best for me. And that's why I even do it with grading companies for the comic books. There is never one solution. If Marvel is teaching us anything, which DC and Marvel have been doing this since the 60s about the multiverse, is in a world of unlimited possibility, with infinite ways to go, for you to think there is only one way is pure and simple naivety. Unless you believe that to be true. Write the word believe, and you'll notice the word lie straight in the middle. There is no one way for anything. There are people these days trying to convince you there is only one way of certain things that are going on. That is the most ridiculous thing. But again, any experience is an experience. So when you choose to come to this reality, to this third/fourth dimensional plane of existence, knowing already why you're here, and that is to learn something, sometimes you need to learn what not to do. You ever play a video game? You ever go when it's very hard? You don't go straight through from beginning to end. Sometimes you have to say, okay, instead of making a left because this particular trap door will kill me every time, I need to now go right and go around that door and find another way to the next level or to the next scene. So you had to learn through that painful experience of what no longer to do. It's the dumb ones that keep trying to go that same way and say, well, maybe if I try it this way, or maybe if I close my eyes, or maybe if I run faster. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. If you think your path is the only path, I'm sorry to say, but you're wrong in my opinion. If you truly believe there's only one path, you will have blinders on and you will only see one path. You will make the reality that your heart feels is true, even if it goes against what you believe. That's why this world is making you contradict your own personal safety and your own personal protection of you and your loved ones' lives by somebody else's outward influence because it sounds like it's reasonable. Just like you could look up in the sky and you see a UFO, but somebody says, well, you didn't see a UFO. That was actually a satellite, or that was a weather balloon, or that was just toxic gases in the sky that formed a light that made you think it's this. Just because an explanation sounds reasonable does not make it true, and it does not make it true for you, unless you believe it. And that's the wonderful thing about this world, and how people, and let's get into a comic book reference. Mephisto. Mephisto is the devil character of the MCU. He has to trick people into them giving him their power to grant wishes to them that they can grant themselves. And that's the irony of how the world works. You want to know how the world works? You have the power to do everything, which is also have the power to give your power to somebody else. No one can ever take from you that which you will not give, even if it's subconsciously. So you have to ask yourself this question. What do I need to learn from the situation that I'm currently in? If you are going to kindergarten and they teach you 2 + 2 is 4, if you refuse to learn it or cannot grasp it, they're going to keep teaching it to you. But once you know 2 + 2 is 4, you never have to be taught it again. So if you have the same things happening over and over again in your life, it's because you're too proud, or you're too stubborn, or you're too blind, or you're too naive, or you're too angry, or you're too afraid to listen. People get left back in school and repeat a grade, not because they wish that to be true, not because they're not the smartest or prettiest person in the world. It's because they did not learn the lessons they needed to learn to progress to the next level. Use that in life. If you are not progressing, it means you're not learning your lesson, whatever that lesson is. And if you don't believe there's a lesson in your life, then you don't understand the purpose of what life is. Life is learning. So that's why, even though I didn't have a lot of comic book videos this year, and yes, I was down and depressed at certain points, I'm learning from that, and I thought, okay, maybe I needed that to recharge the battery. Maybe I needed that so I could make this video. Just imagine how many people may be helped by this video. Let's just assume one person that watches this video, listens to what I'm saying, thinking, I'm just watching a comic video, and all of a sudden have all their life's problems answered, or at least directs them in a better direction. Well, I bet you're glad that I had to go through all that depressive stuff and go through all the anger and all these different things in my life to get to this point, to be strong enough to be able to learn from those lessons and be able to talk about this for you to hear. Because just imagine if everything was happy and I had no reason to say this or no ability to think about it, to say it. That would change your life if it affected you in a good way, even if it's one word that I said. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So just imagine when you do nothing. You know, and I'm going to leave you at this. Look in the mirror one day when you get the chance. Look at yourself in the mirror. If you put your middle finger up, which I will not do, if you put your middle finger up, the reflection automatically has their finger up at you. Whether it wanted to or not, the reflection has no choice but to give you the very thing you presented it. So, if you're sitting there giving your reflection the middle finger, and you're looking back at the reflection giving you that same middle finger back, and that makes you mad, you can curse at that reflection. You can try and yell at that reflection. You can try and convince that reflection that that's not a nice thing to do. You can try and brag to that reflection that you're better. You can try and bribe that reflection to put the finger down. You know when that finger goes down, and I'm going to pretend this is the middle finger. You know when that finger goes down? When you put it down. That reflection will never do anything other than what you are energetically putting out in the universe. So if you are receiving nothing but pain, learn this if you learn anything. You are always going to get what you give, even if it is subconsciously something your heart believes in. Tell a person to fly, and watch how fast they fall if they're dumb enough to jump off a cliff. You want to know why? Because you can convince yourself, oh, I can fly. You can try and tell everybody, oh, I can fly. But you know in your heart that if you jumped off a cliff, you're going to fall straight down and die. So you don't truly know in your heart that you could do it. If you have 1 ounce of doubt, you have doubt. It's like this. If you have 99 pounds of ice cream and you mix in 1 pound of poop, what do you have? Well, you have 100 pounds of poop. Because it doesn't matter that 99% of that was good. That 1% added to that good ruins the whole thing. Take that with information in the world. If 99% of the information seems right, but they add in that 1% to throw in there that is wrong, it ruins the whole thing. By their deeds you shall know them, not by their words. So, how many of you expected today not even to see a video from me today, but to have this come out of it? And if it helps you, that's amazing. If it doesn't, that's amazing as well. Because I'm experiencing this because even if I don't help anybody, I'm helping myself. If I help others, then that's a beautiful thing. Do I expect anything back from you for it? Absolutely not. Because if I did this expecting something to come back, I did it for the wrong reasons. The 3 most powerful things you can have in your life are as follows. There is nothing stronger than these 3 things, and I will give them to you in order from lowest to highest. If you have all these 3 things, you can be the most powerful beings in the universe. Okay? Number 3 most powerful thing you can have is love. Number 2 most powerful thing you can have is compassion / empathy. And the number 1 most powerful thing in the universe is choice. You ask people, what do you think the most powerful thing is? Most people will say love. But let me ask you this. Can you choose who you love and don't love? You can, right? You don't love everybody the same. You might say, oh, I love the world, but do you think you love your husband or your wife or your children the same as some murderer on the street across the country or across the world? No. So you can choose who you love. So love is number 3. Compassion and empathy is number 2, because compassion and empathy means you not only love yourself, but you care about the well-being of others and not just yourself. So it's great to love yourself, but it's even more noble to love somebody else and want somebody else to be as happy as you are. You notice there's not a lot of love in the world when it comes to Hollywood, and it comes to politicians, and it comes to the media. There's not a lot of love. There is definitely not a lot of compassion and empathy. But they are making a choice. 1 out of 3 ain't going to cut it. You need all 3 if you want to be powerful. Because you'll never give in to fear, and you'll use fear as a learning tool. You'll use negativity to learn from it to become better and stronger. Nobody who lifts weights sits there saying how easy and how fun this is. You want to get strong muscles, you have to get heavy weights. You have to strain. You have to literally tear your body, your fibers and your muscles so they can rebuild and become stronger. So ironically, if you want a stronger muscle, you have to break it apart so it can rebuild stronger. If you work out, you know that you are never going to become a bodybuilder if you are lifting up a piece of paper. You can do this 50 million times. You're not getting strong. What do you have to do? You have to have resistance. You have to have weight. You have to have the force of gravity against you. You have to struggle. You have to sweat. You have to force yourself to do it. Or you could not do it. But those who do make that choice become stronger. Sit at home, watch Netflix, lying on your couch eating bonbons all day, and tell me how long it takes before you become Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're going to be waiting there for a long time. And by long time, I mean you will never get to that point. So how can you feel bad? Oh, woe is me. I wanted to have the body of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I wasn't willing to put in the effort because I don't like to sweat. I don't like to exercise. I don't like to work out. I don't like that pain. I don't like that somebody else is looking at me funny. Well, who does that hurt? Them or you? It hurts you. The person who is going to eat spinach and broccoli and drink water is always going to be in better health than a person that's going to eat candy, chips, soda, and drink beer every day. Again, they are choices, but the beautiful thing about a choice is you can make another one. In other words, I like to write with a black magic marker, but I may choose that this red magic marker may be more suitable for that particular day. Just because you have a choice and a preference or something you like does not mean for the rest of your life you have to do it, or there is no other way. I can decide I want a pen instead. Or I want a different brand of marker. Make your choices. Don't make other people have their choices made for you, because it's always ultimately, if somebody else is making a choice for you, it ultimately is because they want something from you and will gain something for it. Unless they are compassionate and full of empathy. Like, for example, I have 3 stray cats indoors, and there are 12 stray cats outdoors. I go out of my way to feed them 3 times a day, every day. One of them, I have to walk back and forth from my property to the backyard property of somebody else's, because that cat, for some reason, will not join the rest of the group. Will eat a little bit, walk away. I follow it, make sure it eats. I walk back. When it wants more, it will clearly just sit there. I will walk back again and feed it again. And I do it because I love them. I don't expect anything back. I don't do it and say, hey, okay, now you cats have to give me something. Because then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And I'm not doing it to pat myself on the back. It's because it's a right thing to do. It's a kind thing to do. You don't see that these days. It's everybody pointing their finger saying, you're bad, you're wrong. You think this way, so you have to think like us. You don't have to do anything. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm glad I actually put the plug into my laptop, because this thing would have ended a long time ago. If you appreciate my sermon and my video, and you think any little bit of this helped you think in a different way, or made you think something good, or made you smile, or made you just feel, or think, give this a thumbs up. That's the only thing I ask from you. I don't expect anything. You don't have to click on an ad. You don't have to join my Patreon. You don't have to buy a comic from me. You don't even have to go to Patreon to view these contents. It's here freely for you to utilize. You could watch this over and over again if you so wish, if it helps you. But don't live in fear if you want a life of love to eventually reach you. If you're locked up safe in your room, the man or woman or job of your dreams is always going to be out there wondering where you are. You can be safe by yourself in that little bubble, but will you be happy? Because you'll never know, like Cartman, when they went back in time and they changed that whole scenario of them fighting, he will grow up never knowing what it was to have somebody love them, and for him to love somebody more than himself. And that, to me, was a sad ending. Everybody else pretty much had a better life. But Cartman, who knew he had to stop it and just decided not to, now has an alternate universe reality of him growing up alone, angry, and sad. And that, to me, is sad. Don't be one of those people. You can have sadness in your life. You can have anger in your life. Like I said, this year, it's the saddest and most angry I've been in probably decades. But I choose to believe it happened for a reason. And if it motivated me to make this video and it helped somebody, then hey, it had a purpose. Then it can't be bad. And maybe I needed to get all this stuff out and learn all those things and become better off later on. Because what's already happened is in your past. If you had a cruel accident, or if people made fun of you, or blah, blah, blah happened to you, it's not happening to you anymore. So why relive things that are gone? Use it as motivation to get yourself somewhere else. If people said, oh, they'll never amount to anything. Well, if you never amount to anything, you proved them right. Do you want to prove people like that right? Maybe you should use it as motivation to say, you know what? You may think I'll never amount to anything, but I'm going to prove you wrong. And you know how I'm going to do it? By doing the very things you thought I was incapable of. That's up to you. That's hard work. Are you willing to do it? And if not, well, you'll live in your safe little bubble, and you may end up like Cartman, who sat on the street homeless and bitter and alone, never knowing the love that he lost. Thanks for watching. Thanks to the 27 people that hit the like button. I'm amazed that 29 people are still watching. Some of you may be thinking this is hysterical and thinking, oh, Chris is such an idiot. And you're right to have that choice if you want. And some people are saying, wow, that was okay. I was bored. I have nothing else to do, so I'll just listen while I'm eating my cereal or watching my pets in the background playing or whatever. And there might be one or two that said, you know what? This is exactly what I needed to hear. What happens from here, I have no control over. You let things out into the universe, and you put them with the positive intention. Sometimes you may never know what good comes out of it. Don't ever do things waiting to get something back. Do it because it's right, if you want to live a happier life. So we'll see. So thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody that hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to give shout-outs a shout-out. And don't forget, guys, it is not you. It is not I. It is We Love Comics. Much love to you all. In case I don't hear from you tomorrow, I hope you all have a safe and happy New Year's. Let's hope 2022, depending on what we do, it'll either be the same, worse, or better. Time to make better changes in your life. The only way you change the world is by changing yourself. Like I said with that reflection, you will never change the reflection until you change yourself. So if you view that in life, if you're seeing nothing but negativity, if you make your life happier, that will never happen to you again. And if it does, say to yourself, what do I need to learn from it? Thank you so much. Be safe. And please, if you go out drinking, do not drive. Do not take your life or somebody else's life because it's convenient to drive home. Take a taxi, take an Uber, sleep at a friend's house. Let's make sure 2022 doesn't start with a whole bunch of funerals and a whole bunch of sadness. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. I'll probably